The Sabotaged, the U.S. Resilience, drifted through the Vega sector like a sleeping giant, its massive hull reflecting the light of distant stars. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood in the observation deck, watching the endless expanse of space through reinforced view. At 42, she had commanded this heavy cruiser for 6 years, leading her crew of 1,500 through dozens of missions across human space. The Resilience was humanity's newest pride, a testament to engineering excellence. 800 meters of advanced alloys, quantum drive systems, and defensive technology that had taken Earth's best minds a decade to perfect. Unlike older human vessels, this ship represented the next generation of space exploration, designed not just for war, but for the long journey toward the galactic core. Rodriguez had brown hair streaked with early gray, a reminder of the stresses of deep space command. Her dark eyes held the calm confidence of someone who had faced the unknown and survived. Born on Mars colony, she had grown up watching ships like this one being built in orbital shipyards, dreaming of the day she would command one herself. "Captain, we're receiving an anomalous reading from engineering," reported Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan from the bridge. His voice carried the slight tension that experienced officers developed when something felt wrong. Sullivan was her second in command, a steady presence who had served with Rodriguez for 4 years. Rodriguez made her way to the bridge, her footsteps echoing through corridors lined with displays showing ship status, crew rotations, and mission parameters. The Resilience was on a routine patrol mission, checking relay stations and monitoring for signs of the Karathi Alliance, a coalition of alien species that had been increasingly aggressive toward human expansion. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency. Crew members worked at their stations with the practiced movements of professionals who knew their jobs completely. The main display showed their current position 3 days out from Earth's nearest colony world. "What kind of anomaly?" Rodriguez asked as she took her command chair. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb's voice came through the communication system, tinged with confusion and growing alarm. "Captain, I'm seeing cascade failures in our primary systems. Life support is fluctuating. Weapons are offline, and our quantum drive is showing critical errors. But here's the strange part. Diagnostics show all systems are functioning normally." Rodriguez felt a chill run down her spine. Webb was the most competent engineer she had ever worked with, a man who could repair anything and had an intuitive understanding of how complex systems worked together. If he was confused, something was seriously wrong. "How is that possible?" she asked. "It's like someone rewrote our system protocols from the inside," Webb replied. "Every safety check passes, every diagnostic comes back green, but actual system performance is degrading rapidly. Captain, I think we've been sabotaged." The word hung in the air like a physical presence. Sabotage meant that someone had gained access to their most secure systems. Someone who understood human technology well enough to create failures that looked like normal operation. It meant they were vulnerable in ways they had never imagined. Rodriguez's mind raced through the implications. The Resilience carried classified technology, experimental systems that other species would pay anything to understand. If aliens had found a way to infiltrate human ships at this level, every vessel in the fleet was potentially compromised. "All department heads to the bridge immediately," she ordered. "Lieutenant Sullivan, raise our alert status to yellow and begin scanning for other vessels in the area." As her senior staff assembled, Rodriguez studied the tactical display with growing unease. The Vega sector was supposed to be secure, well within human-controlled space. But if their systems were compromised, Their enemies might know exactly where they were and when they would be most vulnerable. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sarah Kim arrived first, her usually calm expression showing concern. She was followed by Security Chief Commander Antonio Reyes, a former Special Forces operative whose instincts had saved the ship more than once. Webb materialized on the bridge moments later, his uniform stained with lubricants and his face grim. "Report," Rodriguez commanded. Webb activated a holographic display showing the ship's system architecture. Red indicators were spreading through the network like an infection. "Someone has introduced what I can only call a technological virus into our core systems. It's not destroying anything, it's modifying everything, making tiny changes that add up to complete system failure." "How long until we lose critical systems?" asked Sullivan. "At current rate of degradation, we'll lose life support in 6 hours, weapons in 4, and propulsion in 2, Webb replied. "But Captain, here's what really worries me. This virus knows our systems better than we do. It's targeting specific components in exactly the right sequence to maximize damage while avoiding detection." Dr. Kim stepped forward. "Could this be biological? Some kind of alien organism that interfaces with technology?" "I don't think so," Webb said. "This is too precise, too targeted. Someone studied our blueprints, our protocols, our failsafes, and designed something specifically to defeat them." Commander Reyes crossed his arms, his scarred face showing the expression he wore when analyzing threats. "The question is when. How long would it take to introduce something like this?" "Months," Webb admitted. "Maybe longer. This had to be installed during construction or major maintenance. Someone with high-level access spent a lot of time preparing this." Rodriguez felt the pieces clicking together in her mind, forming a picture. She didn't like the Karothi alliance. Intelligence reports suggested they were trying to infiltrate human shipyards. "We thought they were after technology secrets, but they were planting something." Before anyone could respond, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Park at the sensor station spoke up with barely controlled alarm. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple contacts approaching our position. They're decloaking now." The main display shifted to show the tactical situation. Ships were appearing around them like ghosts materializing from the void. Sleek, organic-looking vessels that seemed to flow through space rather than traveling through it. The distinctive bioships of the Zarak Collective, one of the 3 species in the Karothi Alliance. 36 contacts and counting, Part reported. "They're surrounding us in a perfect sphere formation." Rodriguez gripped her command chair as more ships appeared. The crystalline vessels of the Vorthok Empire emerged next, their surfaces reflecting light in impossible patterns. Finally came the geometric ships of the Nexa Republic, angular constructions that looked like they had been folded from space itself. "This was planned," she said quietly. "They sabotaged our ship and waited for us to reach the perfect ambush point." Communication channels crackled to life as alien voices filled the bridge. The universal translator struggled to keep up, with 3 different languages being spoken simultaneously, but the message was clear enough. "Human vessel, you will surrender immediately. Your species has expanded too far, too fast. Today we demonstrate the consequences of ignoring galactic law." Rodriguez stood slowly, her mind already racing through options. The Resilience was crippled, surrounded and facing overwhelming odds. Any conventional response would result in the destruction of her ship and the death of 1,500 crew members. But Captain Alina Rodriguez had not survived 6 years of deep space command by giving up when things looked impossible. "Mr. Webb, How long would it take you to implement Emergency Protocol Gamma 7? She asked. Webb's eyes widened. Protocol Gamma 7 was theoretical, an experimental system that had never been tested outside of computer simulations. It was designed as a last resort when all other options had been exhausted. Captain, we don't know what that protocol will actually do. The simulations suggested it might work, but the side effects could be unpredictable. At this point, unpredictable might be exactly what we need, Rodriguez replied. The enemy spent months planning this ambush. They know our standard procedures, our weapons, our defenses. They don't know about Gamma 7 because we barely know about it ourselves. The alien fleet was tightening its formation, preparing to deliver an ultimatum. Rodriguez could see energy weapons charging on dozens of ships. Her crew looked to her with the trust that came from years of shared danger and successful missions. All hands, this is the captain, she announced over the ship-wide communication system. We are facing a situation that no human crew has ever encountered. Our enemies believe they have trapped us, that they have found a way to defeat human ingenuity and determination. They are about to learn otherwise. She paused, looking around the bridge at faces that showed fear but also resolve. These were the best humanity had to offer, people who had volunteered to go into the unknown and face whatever they found there. Mr. Webb, implement Protocol Gamma 7. All departments, prepare for unknown consequences. We're about to show the galaxy what humans can do when their backs are against the wall. Webb's hands moved across his control panel with practiced efficiency, entering authorization codes that had been given to only a handful of people in the entire human fleet. Deep in the ship's core, systems that had never been activated began to come online. Protocol Gamma 7 is initializing, he reported. Captain, once this starts, we can't stop it. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Then we better make it count. The alien fleet moved closer, their weapons now fully charged and targeting the helpless human ship. They had planned this moment for months, confident that they had found a way to demonstrate human vulnerability to the entire galaxy. What they didn't know was that humans had been preparing for exactly this kind of situation since the day they first encountered hostile alien life. Protocol Gamma 7 represented humanity's deepest understanding of what it meant to survive against impossible odds. As the protocol activated, changes began throughout the ship that no one had anticipated. The sabotage virus that had been designed to cripple human systems suddenly encountered something it had never been programmed to handle. Instead of disabling the ship's technology, it began to merge with the experimental protocol in ways that defied all understanding. Rodriguez watched her displays flicker and change, showing readings that made no sense according to everything she knew about her ship. Mr. Webb, are you seeing this? Captain, I don't understand what's happening. The protocol is interacting with the alien virus, but instead of cancelling each other out, they're creating something new. Energy readings throughout the ship began to climb beyond anything the Resilience had ever produced. The experimental quantum cores that powered Protocol Gamma 7 were drawing power not just from the ship's reactors, but from the surrounding space itself, outside the ship. The alien fleet prepared to fire their weapons and end what they saw as humanity's expansion into their galaxy. They had no idea that their act of sabotage had inadvertently become the catalyst for something that would change everything. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood on her bridge, surrounded by readings and displays that showed her ship becoming something beyond human engineering. Whatever was happening, there was no stopping it now. The aliens had wanted to demonstrate human weakness. Instead, They were about to witness the moment when humanity took its next evolutionary step. The galaxy would never be the same. The awakening 3 hours had passed since Protocol Gamma 7 activated, and the EU's resilience no longer resembled the ship that Captain Rodriguez had commanded. The hull maintained its familiar shape, but energy patterns flowed across its surface like living light. Systems that had been failing were not only restored but enhanced beyond their original specifications. Rodriguez stood before displays that showed impossible readings. Power output had increased by 400%. Shield strength was climbing toward theoretical maximums. Most remarkable of all, the alien sabotage virus was no longer a threat. It had somehow become integrated into the ship's systems, providing capabilities that human engineers had never imagined. "Captain, I'm getting reports from across the fleet," Lieutenant Commander Sullivan announced, his voice filled with amazement. "Every human ship within 50 light-years is experiencing similar changes. It's like Protocol Gamma 7 is spreading through quantum communication channels." Chief Engineer Webb looked up from his console, his face showing a mixture of wonder and concern. "The quantum entanglement network we use for long-range communication is carrying more than just messages. It's transmitting the protocol modifications to every connected vessel." Dr. Kim had been monitoring the crew's biological responses to the changes. "Captain, there's something else. The crew is adapting to the ship's enhancements. Reaction times are improving, problem-solving abilities are increasing, and some personnel are reporting enhanced intuitive understanding of the ship's systems." Rodriguez felt it herself, a growing awareness of the resilience that went beyond normal command interface. She could sense the ship's condition, the flow of power through its systems, even the emotional state of her crew. It was as if the boundary between human and machine was becoming more fluid. The alien fleet surrounding them had noticed the changes. Their perfect formation was beginning to waver as sensor operators reported readings that made no sense. The human ship they had meant to capture was transforming into something unprecedented. "Commander." Reyes approached the captain with his latest security assessment. "The aliens are confused but still committed to their attack. However, our enhanced sensors are now detecting something interesting about their ships. The same quantum signatures that allowed them to sabotage our systems are present throughout their fleet." "Meaning?" Rodriguez asked. "Meaning that whatever is happening to us might not be limited to human vessels." Reyes replied grimly. As if responding to his words, alerts began sounding from the alien ships. The same virus that had been designed to sabotage human technology was now interacting with their own systems in unexpected ways. The Karathi Alliance had created a tool they didn't fully understand, and it was beginning to affect their own vessels. The crystalline ships of the Vorthark Empire were the first to show visible changes. Their surfaces began to pulse with new patterns of light, and their energy signatures started shifting toward frequencies that resembled human technology. The bioships of the Zera Collective followed, their organic hulls developing metallic patches that integrated seamlessly with their living tissue. "They're experiencing forced evolution," Dr. Kim observed with fascination. "The protocol is rewriting biological and technological systems according to patterns that promote cooperation rather than conflict." Webb was monitoring the changes with growing excitement. "Captain, I think I understand what's happening. The original protocol was designed to enhance human adaptability in extreme situations. But when it merged with the alien virus, it created something that promotes adaptive unity across species barriers." Rodriguez watched as alien ships began to change formation, moving away from attack positions toward patterns that suggested communication rather than aggression. "Are you saying the protocol is making us all more compatible?" "Not just compatible," Webb replied. "It's creating a shared technological and biological foundation that allows different species to work together more effectively. The aliens tried to sabotage us, but they accidentally created the basis for unprecedented cooperation." Communication channels began crackling with alien voices. But now the universal translator was working with remarkable efficiency. The enhanced systems could interpret not just words but intentions, emotions, and complex concepts that had previously been impossible to communicate between species. "Human vessel," came a voice from the Vorthok flagship. "We are experiencing changes that we do not understand. Our weapons systems are refusing to target your ship. Our navigation computers are suggesting cooperative flight patterns." Another voice, this one from the Zyrak Collective. "Our bioships are adapting to frequencies that match your technology. Our pilots report empathic connections with your crew members. This was not intended." Rodriguez realized she was witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. 3 species that had been enemies for generations were being forced to understand each other on fundamental levels. The fear and suspicion that had driven them to sabotage human expansion was being replaced by direct knowledge of human intentions and capabilities. "This is Captain Alina Rodriguez of the EU's Resilience," she broadcast to the alien fleet. "Your sabotage virus has merged with our experimental protocol to create something none of us anticipated. We're all being changed, all being enhanced in ways that promote understanding rather than conflict." She paused, feeling the weight of the moment. "The question now is what we do with this opportunity." Lieutenant Commander Park announced new sensor contacts appearing throughout the system. "Captain, we have human ships arriving from multiple directions. The entire Third Fleet is converging on our position, and they're all showing the same enhancements we are." More alien ships were also arriving, drawn by emergency signals from the Korathi Alliance fleet. But instead of preparing for battle, the newcomers were being affected by the same transformative protocol that was spreading like a wave across the galaxy. Dr. Kim had been analyzing the biological changes affecting both human and alien crews. "Captain, the enhancements are permanent and self-sustaining. We're not just temporarily modified, we're evolving into something new, all of us." The implications hit Rodriguez like a physical blow. This wasn't just a technological upgrade or a temporary alliance. They were witnessing the birth of a new kind of civilization, one where the barriers between species could be overcome through shared enhancement rather than conquest or assimilation. Webb was receiving data from across human space, reports of ships and colonies being transformed by the spreading protocol. "Captain, the changes are accelerating. Every human facility with quantum communication capability is being enhanced. But more than that, the modifications are improving with each new connection. It's learning," Rodriguez realized. "The protocol is analyzing every system it encounters and incorporating improvements into the network. We're not just becoming more capable individually, we're becoming part of something larger." The alien commanders were reporting similar phenomena across their territories. The sabotage virus had become a vector for transformation that transcended species boundaries. Fear was being replaced by curiosity, aggression by cooperation. As crews from different worlds found themselves sharing thoughts and experiences through quantum-enhanced communication, Commander Reyes approached with a tactical assessment that would have been impossible an hour earlier. "Captain, I'm receiving strategic information from alien crew members who are sharing their knowledge voluntarily. They're showing us how their sabotage network functions, how to detect and counter similar operations. Why would they do that? Rodriguez asked. Because they're beginning to understand that we're all part of the same expanding network now, Reyes replied. Human, Vorthok, Zyrak, Nexa. The distinctions are becoming less important than the shared goal of survival and growth. Rodriguez looked around her bridge at crew members whose capabilities were expanding by the hour. They were still human, but they were becoming something more, part of a galactic community that had been impossible before this moment. The alien fleet that had come to demonstrate human weakness was now part of an unprecedented cooperative effort. Ships that had been enemies were sharing resources, knowledge, and capabilities in ways that benefited everyone involved. Mr. Webb, what are the long-term projections for this expansion? Webb consulted displays that showed models of galactic development that incorporated the spreading enhancements. Captain, if current trends continue, every technological civilization in the galaxy will be connected within 6 months. We're looking at the end of interspecies warfare, the beginning of true galactic cooperation. Rodriguez felt a profound sense of responsibility settling over her. The decision to activate Protocol Gamma 7 had been made to save her ship and crew. Instead, it had triggered the transformation of galactic civilization itself. Open channels to all ships, human and alien, she commanded. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez. What we've experienced today cannot be contained or reversed. We've all been changed in ways that make us more than we were before. The question now is whether we work together to guide this transformation or try to fight changes that have already become part of us. Responses came from across the expanding network: human captains, alien commanders, crews from species that had been enemies for centuries. The message was unanimous. They would work together to navigate whatever came next. The sabotage that was meant to cripple one human ship had instead become the catalyst for the greatest evolutionary leap in galactic history. What had started as an act of aggression had transformed into the foundation for unprecedented cooperation and growth. As Captain Rodriguez watched ships from multiple species working together with seamless coordination, she realized that her greatest command decision had been made not in the moment of crisis, but in the choice to embrace change rather than resist. The galaxy was no longer burning with conflict. Instead, it was blazing with the light of transformation that could not be contained, would not be stopped, and promised a future that none of them could have imagined. Humanity had not just survived the attempt to cripple their expansion. They had become the spark that ignited evolution itself across the stars.